What's going on, guys? It's the end of the month, so that means it's time for the end of the month community update from Space Marine 2. This one's going to go over a bunch of stuff that they talked about in the past, like the updates that they had, plus what's coming in the future. So we're going to go over this. If you want more updates on Space Marine 2 and stuff, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video to help you get around. But I will keep doing this, and I'll probably do some of the smaller patch notes. I haven't done the smaller patch notes that they did in between, but I'll add those in, I think, more frequently. So let's go ahead and jump in. It says, hello, Space Marines. Let's recap what occurred in February on Space Marine 2 a bit, and then we'll tackle future topics. We know you're eager for patch 7 to drop. There's still a bit of a wait. But in the meantime, we'll be sure to tease you a little. The recap is that this month they released the 6.0 Data Vault update containing new free and season pass content. You may check the entire catalog here. Mostly the biggest features that were added to the game are the Data Vault with new cosmetic rewards, the Biovore, the PvP map Tomb, Salamander's Champion Pack, Raven Guard cosmetic pack including its successor chapters, FOV slider, and a perks rework. And if I forget to put this in the description down below, make sure you let me know in the comments so I can put the link to this in the description. Following that, we released the 6.1 hotfix to help with a few remaining bugs and connectivity issues mostly. Again, you can read the patch notes here. We are aware that with these two updates, a few issues remain, such as FPS drops and too many spore mines spawning at the same time. They're actively working on it, and the hotfix will arrive next week that shall fix the spore mining issues and bring some balancing tweaks. There's an Imperial Vigil community event. It said, we hear about your desire to have an emblemless MK8 errant helmet, so here's your chance. This cosmetic is entirely free. The only requirement is to link your Pros account to Space Marine 2. Here's your brief. Archive a victory with each of 6 classes in operations mode to win the emblemless Mark 8 errant helmet. So this will be this helmet here without the hood on it. And you see a little picture of it right here. I can't. This is right here on this thing. So it'll be the helmet. It'll end on March 3rd. So I guess you have a couple of days. But I think most people that might have this linked to their Pros account already because of the other things that happens when you link those things together, especially when to get like twist drops and stuff like that. The event lasts until March 3rd, so you have until Monday. Note about community events. We have noted that the community events have received code feedback since we introduced them as an additional way to unlock cosmetic items. We saw that many of you mentioned FOMO generated by the events. Rest assured, we are not looking to transform Space Marine 2 into a full live service game. These items available through events will be available later for everyone. We want community events to be a way to unlock the items in advance for the most dedicated players and not to be a source of frustration and stress for everyone. So if you do miss the helmet, you will be able to get it later. However, that means we must provide a smooth experience in unlocking said items, which has not been the case so far. We deeply apologize for the trouble, and we are currently working on a simplified process to unlock the items to make the experience less constraining. So what's coming is the 7.0 update is in the making. We're working on it, and we'll give you a more precise date on once we get one. This update will bring several awaited features: a chapter pack, a champion pack, private PvP lobbies, a new weapon, only in PvE for now, new operation, weapon perks rebalance, class weapon loadouts rework, PvE prestige rank. Once you reach level 25 on a class, you can buy a prestige level that will unlock a unique prestige perk. Choose them wisely because you won't be able to change your selected prestige perks before unlocking the 4 prestige levels. On top of that power boost, each class will have a unique cosmetic reward that emphasizes the class iconic armor part and more. So I feel like they could have also did this with the PvP, had a PvP prestige going on where you get a special cosmetic that unlocks for your prestige rank, even if it's like something that's unnatural, a cloak, a back piece, something that everybody can kind of see that shines bright. I guess everybody can see it's a prestige armor, a shoulder plate. It's interesting that we're on 7.0 already. It feels like the game just came out and we're already on update 7. Stay tuned. We'll soon come with more information. Horde mode. And there's a picture of everybody talking about Horde mode in the comments of the Discord. So apparently you're all waiting for the Horde mode. You're very eager to get more info on the Horde mode. It's one of our top priorities right now. One thing we can say is that it will be very different from the Space Marine 1 Horde mode, and that there are surprises we can't wait for you to find out about. Once we get really interesting things to show you about it, we'll do it, so bear with us. They're also opening up a public test server, it seems, where they say they're excited to share their goal about public test servers in a few weeks. Expected to take place in March and before patch 7. Once we get a specific date, we'll make an official statement on our socials and Discord. This will give you early access to upcoming features and the opportunity to share your feedback, helping us refine the content before its official release. It will exclusively happen on Steam, neither on the EGS or nor consoles. It will be very easy to install. It will act as a separate game. Community feedback on the new absolute difficulty, which is unfortunate. That's normally how public test servers work, as though just be on PC. So hopefully the PC players aren't gonna, screw the console players. Community feedback on the new absolute difficulty. A word from our game director. We would like to hear your opinion regarding absolute difficulty. Overall, we are quite happy with how intense the difficulty itself is. We see that it requires a lot of concentration, and we feel like it's fun in terms of how many enemies you have to face, how hard they hit you, etc. At the same time, we see comments that it's a bit easy, yet on the other hand, we don't want to mess it up, and we'd like to hear the voice of the community first. Here is some data and context. According to our stats, the average win rate on absolute difficulty is 60%, higher than lethal difficulty, which sits at 50%, which seems a bit higher than we expected. So they didn't want nobody to really, says a bit higher, but I want to say they probably wanted 30% to be on lethal. At the same time, such high win rate is explained by 3 facts. Absolute difficulty is locked for new users. Only 12% of daily playtime is spent on absolute difficulty. Only 15% of weekly active players play at least one match on absolute difficulty. This means that only a small portion of very hardcore and well-prepared players are playing the absolute difficulty, and we must find a proper balance between wishes of the hardcore players and more casual players that simply want to have fun. I will be completely honest, I think we are almost at our limits in terms of how we can make the game harder without making it unfair and not fun. We can't significantly increase the number of enemies for performance and memory reasons. Greatly increasing enemy damage and HP will make it so players will die randomly and will make enemies bullet sponges, which will not be fun. We do not want to implement a new difficulty because that would split the matchmaking pool even more. We have to stick to the existing 6 difficulties. The proper way of doing this would be implementing a set of gameplay modifiers, type formation gameplay modifiers that we've tried to release earlier. Combination of which would make each challenge unique, and I'm happy to announce that we are already working on the system. However, this will take some time. For now, we can tweak some parameters, and we would like to hear your opinion on specific items. So, poll 1, would you like to see dual terminus enemies and more terminus enemies in general or absolute difficulty? So they can make it so that there will be more terminus enemies on a level, potentially 2 at the same time. Plus, they can lift restrictions that prevents terminus enemies from spawning on levels that have final bosses. Example, Hive Tyrant. Poll 2, shall we slightly increase enemy health and damage on absolute difficulty? Some of the builds can break health thresholds and start one-shotting enemies. We are only talking about small health and damage tweaks that should not cause enemies to become bullet sponges. Poll 3, would it be better to have more limited ammo refills on absolute difficulty? Poll 4, do you want more aggressive enemies on absolute difficulty? And I think that's it. So don't take into account the total number of G2G points spent on an answer. We will only consider the number of entries each answer has received for equity reasons. Exclusive wallpapers on Focus Together. 12 new exclusive Space Marine 2 wallpapers have dropped on our community platform. Create an account here to get them free. Here's a sneak peek at some of them. They're just showing some little bits of them. Once you've created your account, you can directly link your Steam account. And by doing so, you will earn different badges, avatars, and titles to pimp your profile. So emotes were worth a shot. Since the release of Data Vault Update, you shared countless screenshots showing the different emotes, and we love it. Here's a little compendium, but if you want to see more, you should definitely check out the wall of screenshots on our Discord. And so there's some emotes here. You can see pointing, fists raised, stuff like that. And that's it. Don't hesitate to provide feedback on the upcoming content in the comments below and in the ideas section of Focus Together. We'll see you next month for another community update. The Emperor protects. And we have some comments here. Awesome. Enemies are already bullet sponges without any changes. Bolt weapons still massively unperformed based on the established 40k lore, even after the buffs. No gauntlet should be surviving a headshot from any kind of bolt weapon. Don't even get me started on plasma weapons. I will happily take double or triple the amount of Minotaur's enemies on if my guns actually perform the way the lore tells us they should. It's a lore accurate person. Adding modifiers would be a fantastic way to ramp up the difficulty. It'd be better if we could select multiple multipliers before the mission kicks off. That way players could craft some wild, tough, and entertaining challenges, perfect for streamers looking for spice things up. And please don't limit the number of modifiers we can choose. If there are, say, 10 available, let us pick all 10 if we want to go all out. I think that's probably a bit too much. Might put a tax on the system that they couldn't handle. Someone says, I love it. Absolute isn't just worth it, according to me, because the experience and requisition and such I have no worth. I'm capped at everything. When Prestige comes, I think these are going to be more active. Thanks for a transparent update and honest info. Decrease enemy health by a good amount at all difficulties and increase only the number of majority's enemies and determinist enemies on screen. So I think they kind of messed that up. I think a good way to increase difficulty without stressing too much So the reason why they just said they couldn't increase the number of majorities and extremists and terminus enemies because it would tax the system too much. So even decreasing the health on them and putting more on screen wouldn't do much. Everybody would just complain about the lag or latency or FPS drops because they wouldn't be able to do it. They would have to like really make them look like probably uh, not the way they look now, PS3 characters. For example, enemies could have the same health from easiest to substantial and slightly increase it from ruthless to absolute difficulty. Damage will increase substantially from one difficulty to another. This way, the players will clear enemies faster and reduce the amount of stress given by enemy numbers. Only majority's enemies will be really dangerous, and at the highest level, players will only focus on their dodge timings, positioning, parries, etc. And the power fantasy won't be impacted too much on higher difficulties. Please stop making the game harder because of a very small number of tryhards. Game is not a Souls-like game. Yeah, higher difficulties are basically dodge fest. So they're not really making the game difficult for a certain number of tryhards. They have something in their mind of the amount of players they want to clear, and they just feel like too many people are clearing it. Now it says for the tryhards, and they did say that it's because only a few percentage of players are actually just playing that part. So it's kind of skewing the numbers a little bit. I don't know how they can make it more difficult without making them bullet sponges. I think the modifiers is a good thing they can do on there, and I think they should limit the modifiers instead of having all 10. I think it would be better if they had a separate mode in the difficulty section. They don't want to split the player base anymore though, because if you're jumping into a game or doing a try hard, you jump into a game that has a modifier you don't like. Most likely, the person can just leave that game because there's no control over the modifier. So I feel like the modifiers should rotate, and maybe turn one of the difficulties into a modifier difficulty, or the last two just put them on there automatically instead of increasing the difficulty of those. Just have them on there. And there'll probably be some weeks where you won't see people playing those modes because it might have some modifiers that they don't like. But I think overall you have a better experience without having to worry about it being too hard or too easy, because people know what to expect with the modifiers and they can plan accordingly and ahead of time. That's my thought. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for more Space Marine 2 info. Like the video, share it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching this one. Peace.